What's up, guys? It is 5:20 in the morning right now, and we are just getting started with Uber, and I like to turn on Lyft as well. So today I'm going to be going out for the early morning shift. This is usually what I do most days that I do go out and do Uber. I usually like to start around the latest 6:30. Today, got out extra early. I was able to get out of bed pretty quick. And so yeah, we're getting started. Check this out. It's 5:22 now. We got some surge pay going on all around here. So I'll probably just start heading that way. Usually the first trip I get in the mornings is airport run, which usually pays about $25 and takes me like 45 minutes to get done. So if I can get one of those, that would be great. But I don't know, we'll see. Some days it doesn't happen. So what I like to do if I don't end up getting one of those is I just start heading over to the closest surge pay I can find. Now, if it's too far away, then I won't go to the surge pay, because by the time I get there, it'll probably be gone into a different area. But yeah, I like to just get out of my neighborhood, get onto a more busy road, and usually by the time I do that, I'll have my first ride. So I'm heading over that way now. I'll let you guys know when I get my first ride. So I did get my first ride. It's from Lyft, actually, not even Uber, but it is $11. It says it's going to take us 25 minutes to get done, but usually that's about 2 to 3 minutes over what it actually takes me. And so probably more like 22 minutes to make $11 without a tip. So that's not going to be too bad at all. With Lyft and Uber though, I don't really pay attention to the miles. I mostly pay attention to how quickly I can get the ride done. So that's something that I do different than when I'm doing DoorDash or Uber Eats. But what I like to do if I do get a Lyft, then I will do this. I will turn off my UberX and Uber Pet and just do deliveries. That way, as I'm dropping the Lyft passenger off, if I get a good Uber Eats order that's either really high payout or the pickup of the Uber Eats is at the passenger drop-off or just nearby the passenger drop-off, it usually works out super well. But with it being this early in the morning, I don't know if I'll get any Uber Eats. There are some McDonald's and some Del Taco open. So that's how I like to pair it up. When I get a Lyft ride, I like to keep that Uber Eats going just in case something good comes my way. All right, we just dropped that lady off and we already got our next Uber. It is $5 for I don't know how many miles. It says it's gonna take 13 minutes, but it said that the pickup was 6 minutes away and I just accepted it and it was 2 minutes. So this is gonna be like a 10-minute ride for 5 minutes. I love these rides. The more of these short distance rides you can do, the better, as long as it's consistent, because they usually pay out really well for the amount of miles you're driving. So that's why I like taking them. But the longer distance rides, once it gets to like 6:30 or 7, will actually pay out better than a lot of the short distance rides. So it's weird how they do it with the pay. It's kind of interesting. Depending on the hour it is while I'm out, I like to change up my strategy between long distance or short distance rides. But anyway, we're going to pick this girl up, and I think we're going to end up having a really great first hour. All right, so in our first hour, we made $20.08 from Lyft, and then a little over $6 from Uber. So $26 in total. And we're starting the next hour off with this order, almost $16. I think it said it'll take us about 30 minutes. We got some $4 bonus surge pay going on right now. So great way to start off the second hour. After that first hour making $26, we should see a couple back-to-back $30+ hours. That's usually how it goes once you go from about 6:30 to 8:30. That's like the best time of the day. So I'm hoping by 8:30, maybe we can be at $100. That would be amazing. Let's go find out. All right, so we just finished up our second hour. We have now made $56, so not too bad at all. And I'm actually gonna accept that. Just accepted another Uber ride for $7.31. Says it'll take me about 15 minutes to get done. So we're still rolling. Second hour, we made $30, which, like I just said, brings our total to $56. When it gets to about this time, 7:30, I do one of two things. I either start heading back to my apartment, depending on how long I'm planning on going out for the day, or I'll go further into Salt Lake because there's usually some really good bonus pay. So we'll see where this ride takes me. I think it's taking me more into Salt Lake. So it looks like I'll stay there for a little bit, take advantage of the bonus pay that's around right there, do some short rides, hopefully close out another hour over $30 and then go from there. So I've now made $69.34 from Uber and then $20.08 from Lyft. And as you guys can see, we just finished our third hour. And so we made $89.42. Not bad at all. That's $30 an hour for all 3 hours we've been out. Now, as you can see, the bonus pay has kind of died down a little bit. And that's the same on Lyft. So what I do at this time of day usually, and this is how I make it the most worth it for me anyways, is right around 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, kind of depending on the day and where I'm at on the map. I do a couple different things depending on that. But since I'm pretty far from my apartment, I'm about 30 minutes away, I'm gonna start heading back. I'm gonna set a destination filter on Lyft, and then on Uber, I'm just gonna leave it as it is and take rides that are worth it. So sometimes I get a ride and it takes me right home or like really close to home, which is awesome. And that would be like another $20 on top of what we've already made, or maybe like $15. And that is just great. That is like the peak of timing everything perfectly. But if I don't get one, then we still made $90 before 9 a.m. and then I can be home at 9 o'clock, take my break until about 1 o'clock, because today it's looking like we got $4 bonus hour pay, which is great on Lyft. So I'll probably head back out for that, but nah. Yeah, see, I just got a ride. It was $10.10 for only like 20 minutes, but it was taking me in the opposite direction of my apartment. So I declined that one. And yeah, so that's kind of the plan for right now. Just trying to get rides that take us back to home. And then I'll catch up with you guys after that. We'll go over the totals and the miles I drove and everything like that. So I'll see you guys in a sec. Well, I was able to actually get 2 rides on the way home, which was great. And it helped us hit exactly $100.15. Check this out. $20.08 still on Lyft, and then now $80.07 on Uber. And as you guys can see, that was in 3.5 hours. Now with Uber, I was offline for about 10 minutes or so it probably was more like 3 hours and 40 minutes. But for easy math purposes, we're just going to round down to 3.5 hours. So I'm going to do the math on that real quick for you. 100.15, that's how much we made. So $100.15, divide that by 3.5. So we were making about $28 per hour. That is well worth it, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I don't get to keep all that because there's a lot of expenses that come along with doing Uber. But just from the gross profit, I think it is worth it to do the early morning Uber shift. I mean, that is way more money than I would have made on Uber Eats, DoorDash, or any other app. But using Uber and Lyft, I was able to average $28 an hour and make $100 before 9 a.m. The next thing we need to get into is the miles I drove, which was 106. Now, if I factor in the depreciation on my car, the gas expense, the car maintenance that's going to accumulate in the future, all that sort of stuff, then it's about 40 cents per mile, roughly. I mean, I don't have an exact amount, but it's about 40 cents per mile I've figured out over the years. So if I drove 106 miles, times that by 0.6 is going to be the profit. So $63.60. And that's factoring in every single expense. I don't see a lot of people do that. They usually just factor in like gas and car maintenance, but you got to factor in depreciation. You got to factor in everything. So we're going to divide that by 3.5. And we were making about $18 an hour profit. So not too bad. If I can make $18 profit, and that's accounting for everything, and not just like depreciation and stuff, but this is accounting for like if I were to do this long-term over like 3 to 5 years, that is the profit. But if I decide to not do Uber again for a couple months or whatever, then it's actually going to be a lot more profit than that. But if you're doing Uber or any gig app consistently for years, then you have to factor in buying a new car and that depreciation on your car. So it's like a double whammy if you do this long-term full-time. But if you're just doing it early morning shift for maybe a couple days out of the week, putting in 15 hours, then you really don't have to factor in depreciation on your car unless you're planning on doing it for 6-7 years part-time. So I just wanted to mention that for those of you guys who don't know. But yeah, overall, I think it's well worth it. You can almost always average over $25 an hour gross. And so I think it's well worth it to do the early morning Uber shift. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.